Good morning. You're listening to Mind, Body, Heart and Soul. This is Christine Hart-Savage, and we're certainly looking on the bright side of life this morning, aren't we, George?
We definitely are, I think, this morning with the rain and the traffic and
the studio. We've just had a studio malfunction, so we don't know what's happened in Studio 1, so we went skittling all the way in here to Studio 2, and Lee kindly put the news on in here because it just wasn't working in Studio 1. Anyway, that's life, isn't it? It's you just have to go with the flow.
We've just got to adapt sometimes, and we've got the big studio now.
That's right. It's funny though; everything feels different when you're in a different studio.
Yeah,
even the mouse works differently, and everything. It's quite bizarre.
Yeah. There's a lot more room in here, though.
Oh yeah, there is.
Yeah.
It's quite a large studio. Yeah. So how are you, George?
I'm pretty good actually.
That's great.
I've had a good weekend. A lot happening. I went out last night actually, saw a friend, Luke and Justin, and there was a little bit of a band rehearsal last night for a show that I'm involved in on Thursday night where I paint to a band, so that was quite fun.
That sounds very interesting, painting to a band. So they play and you paint?
Luke's band, Coco Blue, is just playing in Lygon Street, and I basically just paint live to their band, sort of just splash paint around to their music. So I'm almost channeling the band. That's basically what I'm doing. So
you have a canvas?
Yeah, there's a big canvas on the ground. The band area is all drop sheeted. I've got a big canvas on the ground, and I'm just basically just feeling the music, and I see music in colours.
Yep. It's interesting you say that.
Yeah.
I get the same thing with names.
Yeah.
Some names I get them confused. They're very similar names, and their colours are similar, or the same colour for different names.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I used to have that when I was a kid, and I still have it sometimes now.
So I
think all names must have colour too, which is interesting.
Basically, I guess it's the way I see music. It's the way I paint too. So on a Saturday night, I could put on some Pink Floyd and have a canvas on the ground in the garage and just paint all night to it. So I love music. It opens me up to just a side to myself that's a really soft, gentle, creative side to myself. So it's just gorgeous. I can't wait for Thursday night. I've discovered a new me, really. This whole live art thing,
Well, that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
And thank you for coming in today again, George.
That's all right. That's not a problem. It's my
pleasure. The guest
we
had lined up for today was unable to make it, so that was great. So today we're going to be speaking about Christ consciousness and the plan for Earth again.
Yeah.
So it's part 2.
Yeah, it's part 2 to the discussion we had last
week. And I had a lot of feedback around that discussion too, so that was really nice.
Yep.
From the Mind, Body, Heart and Soul Facebook page, where listeners can actually listen to the podcasts from now on. We'll get a few more of those up there.
Yeah, it seemed to drum up a little bit of interest actually. The Christ consciousness plan for Earth always, I guess, when people start talking about it, it kind of tends to bring up stuff really, for people, because everyone, I think anyway, it can become like a very heated discussion really, because a lot of people are very strong. They've got very strong beliefs as to what's out there or what's happening, or
and I think because we're using the term Christ consciousness, it will bring up some things for people, particularly if they think of that as a religious term.
Yeah.
Where for you and I, it's not a religious term.
Yeah.
It's a label that we put on this higher intelligence that really runs our cosmos, if you like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I guess it's just it's a nomenclature or a sort of like
it's a what, George? I've never heard that. A what?
It's another word of saying a way of thinking.
Right.
For an entire civilization or a race of people, or a group or community. Basically, Yeah, I guess, when you do say the term Christ consciousness, it does bring up a lot of stuff, because people tend to relate it to religion, and a lot of people these days don't really believe in religion at all. So
most people tend to believe that they have a spirit, though, which is really great. So if we can think about Christ consciousness as spirit.
Yeah, well, it's Christ consciousness really... Well, the Christ consciousness, in terms of the chakras, we have like 7 main chakras. The Christ consciousness is actually, I think, the last chakra above the crown chakra.
The 8th chakra.
I think it's I think it's like the 10th or 11th or 12th chakra above the crown chakra, which is directly below the God chakra. So I don't know if I should explain the chakras, on the radio, but
might be a good idea. But talk about perhaps the ones starting in the body first, the first 7 in the body.
Yeah, well, we have 7 main energy centers, and starting from the base chakra, which actually coincides with a topic that we wanted to speak about today, which was colors as well. So the first chakra in the body, and these are energy centers that you can't see. They exist on a simultaneous dimension to the physical dimension, and they're energy centers which receive spirit, I guess. They receive spirit, and the energy centers filter that energy and feed it to organs and feed it to certain bodily systems that we have. So the first one's the base chakra, which is the color red. The second one is an orange, and they all coincide with the colors of the rainbow, which is quite interesting too. So there's red, orange, yellow, which is the solar plexus chakra, and they're tubes which move outwardly, from the center. For instance, if we put our fingers to our solar plexus, which is kind of below, it's in the middle of our torso.
Just below the ribs. Yeah,
it's the area where we tend to feel a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of power issues that tend to happen in the solar plexus area. Our intelligence comes from there. So the energy centers move straight, from the center there outwardly into the universe.
Radiate, vortex and radiate.
Yeah. And if we, if we're aware of them and we are into certain modalities, we can clear these chakras, rebalance them, heal them. So they tend to hold energies within them which can affect the health of these chakras. So there's 7 main of them. There's 7 main chakras. There's the solar plexus. Then you've got the heart. There's I think a little one near the thyroid. That's not a main one though. There's a throat chakra, which is blue. The third eye, which is the psychic center. That's like a sort of a purple indigo color. And then the crown chakra, which is the chakra where we receive the finest vibration from the universe, which is really the connection from the source. That's where we get our connection from the source in the crown chakra. So
now, when you just going back to the heart chakra for a minute, George, because that's really that connection to the soul, isn't it? And now, if you read different things, it talks about that heart chakra being green in colour.
Yeah.
And when I see anything in action in the heart chakra, it's always pink.
It's always pink.
Mm-hmm. So I think the colour or the feeling of love, it's cloudy and emanates like a cloudy substance, and it's always pink.
That's
and
interesting.
Yet,
I never really thought about the heart chakra being pink.
Yeah, well, that's usually emanates a pink cloud-like substance.
Well,
but then when it's green, it's like a strength. So I wondered whether you had anything channeled around that.
Well, I know I know that the pink color reminds me of like a rose quartz crystal. So anytime that we've done meditation, you know, and the rose quartz crystal has come into the meditation, or the pink ray or color has come in, that's all about unconditional love. The pink color is an unconditional love. So it's a divine feminine ray that I guess is centered around the heart chakra, because the unconditional love comes from the heart. The unconditional love really is the Christ consciousness, isn't it? So it's
it definitely is.
I think it's when we're in harmony, really, and perfectly in balance. So
that's really important. The part we'll come back to harmony, I think, because that's something I'd like to discuss as well.
Yeah. So it's interesting that we're talking about colors. The chakras are basically the colors of the rainbow. So it's interesting, really, because nature has, sometimes I sit there and I'm sitting there on my balcony just wondering, and nature really has all the answers to everything, but it's the more we know of ourselves, the more we know who we are, the more we can see those cryptic messages that exist in nature.
I call them the secrets.
Yeah.
The secrets start to be more visible, don't they?
Yeah, little keys.
And the connection between everything. We're all just so connected.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, and we think we're so separate.
I guess it's interesting how you were talking about Christ consciousness being spirit. So spirit really is without ego. So I know it tends to bring up stuff. It tends to bring up a belief, or it tends to bring up some sort of a polarized way of thinking when we talk about the Christ consciousness. Somebody might be listening thinking, there they go on again about Christ, and this and that. But really,
well, another way of saying it, George, would be, for people that don't like that terminology, and fair enough. I mean, we all have our conditioning, but it's really just life. So it's life energy. What we're speaking about when we talk about Christ consciousness is awareness and the energy of life force. We can't live without it.
Yeah.
It animates our mind, our body. That's how we think and feel and act, is through this energy.
Yeah.
And it's the energy of life.
It is the energy of life, the life force. But the Christ consciousness, though, is I think it's, well, I know it's kind of, it is life, but it's something else, like, altogether. It's the essence. The way that I see the Christ consciousness is, I see God as like this, it's almost like a place in heaven, like
a vibration. You're talking.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a intelligence, basically, that exists.
Oh, absolutely.
That exists everywhere, and I think the Christ consciousness is almost like the essence of that intelligence. It's like the most pure,
the raw material,
the most pure spirit, and we all have an access to that. It doesn't have to do with religion or anything like that. It basically comes from our hearts. So all the great teachers of Earth, for instance, we have like Buddha, Jesus. We have Muhammad, who was a great prophet. Many other great teachers were of that Christ consciousness. They were elevated, or they had reincarnated into this world already, being that.
They were our master life coaches, weren't they?
Yeah. So
and still are.
So I guess the the work that you do, Christine, emanates that as well. Like you live, breathe, and eat it, you know. And I try to too. So, you know, the best way that I can, you know.